Carl was already asking you about. I mean, tell me about just not only that season, but of course they made it into a book and a movie. I mean, that must have been pretty cool to see yourself in being portrayed in a movie.
Well, it's surreal. I mean, it's just who would ever thought of it? I mean, it was just kind of one of those things of being in the right place, I guess, at the right spot. It was a kind of a turning point a little bit as far as what was going on in baseball at the time, and we just happened to be part of the guinea pigs that were kind of like part of that change or one man's philosophy getting implemented. So it was cool that we were able to get together and beyond that, just have a run of a good team, and it did something pretty cool, winning 20 games in a row. So it became a really tight unit. We became a real close group. So when I see him now, this reunion type thing, it's pretty neat because we all share that time in the locker room. It's pretty special experience.
And of course, you were a catcher who'd never played first base at all in your life. I know some of the details were wrong, but overall, I think the movie did a pretty good job talking about how they tried to train you to be a first baseman, right?
I'm going to tell you, I couldn't have done it without Ron Washington. I mean, he was such a good teacher, and there were some things that were wrong, but I was terrible, and I'm sure they didn't want me in the lineup. So I had to work really, really hard, and I attribute everything that I got to Ron. So thank you, Ron.
How much did you actually have hands on as far as like being a consultant on the movie? Did they consult with you much, and you were on the set a lot, or?
No, I came to the set, but I wasn't consulted. They coach for SC. What was his name? Catcher. Anyway, he was the guy that was the guy who worked with swings. He worked with Chris Pratt, who was my character, and because he was a right-handed hitter, he had to learn to hit left-handed, and so he worked with him a lot. And he did most of the baseball stuff.
Did you tell your wife, when she said, "Look at that guy," and said, "Hey, that guy's pretty good looking," right? Chris Pratt, meaning, did you feel like, how did it feel to be kind of like, in the spotlight in that regard?
Well, I mean, it's cool. I mean, who would ever thought that there'd be any kind of connection to Hollywood? So yeah, I mean, we got to meet him. He was a really nice guy. And, we had fun getting to know him. I still keep in touch with him, and he's a good-looking dude. Usually you get those little tiny Hollywood guys. This guy was a big dude, so it was good. Physical guy.
And just take me through, if you would. I know kind of a memory lane a little bit more recently, though, being at the movie premiere in Oakland. You had a chance, of course, to be with Brad Pitt, and tell me what that was like.
Oh, I mean, it was amazing. Step into the Hollywood world. I mean, I thought it was cool. I think my kids and wife thought it was cooler than I did, but they really spared no expense. I mean, it was pretty neat hobnobbing with Brad Pitt and some of these big names, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Are you kidding me? So they threw quite a party and got to know the guys. It was a lot of fun.
And then your overall thoughts. I mean, obviously you're on cloud nine. You hit that home run. I mean, what do you think the lasting memory or legacy will be of this 2002 team?
Well, I know a lot became of it. There's the catchphrase of the word Moneyball, and means a whole other thing. So it was kind of a point baseball history, maybe where things came to light as far as philosophy, maybe. So as far as I thought we were a really good team. I think we fell short as far as being a team that I thought could advance more, and that's a bit of a sour pill. But we always have the 20-game thing, and that's great. But teams are really judged on how they do in the postseason, and if you're a baseball fan, we fell short.
And lastly, how do you feel about working in the booth these days? You've been working with Glenn Kuiper and becoming a TV analyst. What's it like seeing things on the other side of the field?
Well, it's an adjustment, man. I tell you, it's a rhythm, fluidity, kind of when to talk, when not to talk, and they're handing you, hey, it's Root Beer Float Day or whatever, so there's a whole thing going on. But ultimately, it's talking baseball, and I've really enjoyed the experience.
Also, do you kind of enjoy seeing the perspective from the media kind of standpoint now, sort of on this on the other side now?
It's a different perspective, and I'm all for different perspectives. So it's been neat learning. It's been a learning experience for sure.
And what else are you doing these days besides working with the A's and broadcasting?
Well, I work for the A's, and that's takes up the time that I'm not broadcasting. So I'm a special assistant. I scout. I do some assignment stuff, but just staying involved, watching this young club kick some butt. I love it.
Oh yeah, that's the last question I had for you. Do you find any similarities at all with this team compared to the 2002
very
team?
Much so. I think it's even more so for them. I mean, we had a team that was in place that won a lot of games and was projected to win a lot of games. This team is projected to win none. It's a very young, youthful group, and I think that's where the similarities are there. That youthfulness kind of has this resiliency about them, and I think we had it on that team, and I see it on this club, and they've shown it, and I think that's why they're in the position they're in.
See any similarities with Bob Melvin and Art Howe as managers?
I think they're both very even-keeled guys. I don't think they ever get too high or too low, and when things were crazy and things were bad, Art was very much he was just completely the same all the time, and I think Bob has a lot of the similarities.